Oh, thank you.
And applaud the genius we have with us today. Can you all please stand up and applaud, sir? I would like to request Mr. Rajgiri Thakur, sir, eminent industrialist from Bello, to please share the dais with the grades.
Thank you so much, sir. It's more than 55 years of friendship or sitting right in front of you. Mr. Krishamohan sir, Anand sir, they are both thick friends for more than 55 years. Do you all believe that? You believe that? It's 55 years of friendship. Sir.
We are friends for a long time, but not 55 years. That means since birth we are friends. It is already 45 years, 46 years. We started our friendship in middle school in 1978, September month. Since then, we are like this. Just say, nothing changed in between us. Maybe things have changed every day. Our careers, everything has started there, but we're still together. Like that, we were and Mr. Raj, we all met for MSET, that was then we were intermediate examiners. Then we call it MSET. We all met at tutorial college preparing for MSET. So that is still 3 more years before. So, we are all together. Why cannot you choose your friends here? It's the place where you can choose. And have a lifelong friendship. Right, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, on behalf of our Montessori school students from teachers side, I would like to call Samira ma'am onto the dais to welcome the chief guest for. So let us all welcome with a big round of applause.
I'm your bored of my speeches. You sure are? I think we're keeping the genius waiting for too long. We should start with that. Don't you think so? Right? I'm all curious. So why don't you welcome him to give the speech? Ask.
Come on.
Now, one thing I want to, before it starts, one more friend is missing here, who is also a pre-MBBS case in tutorial college friend, who fortunately could not get MBBS. He could not get MBBS. He became an IAS officer, then became retired as a Commissioner of Commercial Taxes of Andhra Pradesh. And he is the co-founder of.
Wait. Who is he? Be louder.
Who's that?
గట్టిగా చెప్పండి నాన్న.
Ringareddy sir.
Can you say that one more time?
Ringareddy sir.
The co-founder and chairman of particular group. He got more than 52 branches all over India. Recently started one branch in Chicago. So he could not make it today because some pressing problem came in the morning. One day I will bring him. No problems.
Yes, now I'd like to welcome our chief guest of the day today, Chief Professor Dr. Anand from the stage. Let's all welcome him.
Thank you so much. Looks like it's lunchtime and these poor children have not eaten yet. So we can't be sitting here and talking for too long. So I'm going to keep this thing very brief. Couple of things I wanted to mention. One is I joined medical college in 1978 and so did Dr. Krishamohan sir. And the first time we met, he said hello. There was something about him I liked. And I don't know if he really liked me, but we have been friends ever since. and that's important. Same thing with Mr. Rajgiri, who is also a friend. We met in 1976. We went to take, I guess, entrance exam training, and we have been friends ever since. And the other guest who was supposed to be here, Mr. Lingareddy, we met him in 1978 as well, and we have been friends ever since. One of the things I would like to tell you is it's very important for us to maintain those kind of friendships in life. Now, it's not easy. You just cannot say, I have been so and so's friend for 50 years. It takes work, it takes effort, it's not free. So, every time I come to India, I make it a point to see Krishna Mohan and his family to keep that friendship alive. He has come to my house in Atlanta, and he spent an entire week in my house, and we had a very good time. Same thing with Mr. Rajgiri. When I come, we make it a point to meet and we talk on the phone, etc. And the other guest who was supposed to be here, we have visited his house many times, and he has come to my house in the US with his wife, and we spent time. So it's always nice to maintain those friendships in life. If you have those kind of friends in school, keep it up. Talk to them, call them on the phone, message them, visit them. I think that is a really good thing to do, because later on in life you will really enjoy that. And as far as the other things, there are a couple of things that I would like to tell you. If there is anything that you are interested in, follow it. If something you are passionate about, and I have a couple of good examples right here. If you look at your Samira madam, or you look at Dr. Krishna Mohan, or his two brothers, or their children, their passion has always been education. And I remember Dr. Krishna Mohan's mother, who was a very, very nurturing lady. And every time I came to visit her, she would give me a tour of the entire school in Kannur, and she would go on and on and on and describe it. She was just so passionate about education. So even though Krishna Mohan sir became a doctor and a very good orthopedic surgeon, eventually he went to where his family passion was, which is education. He helped grow the school in Kannur, and they opened many other schools, and then they opened this. So their passion has always been education. And if you pursue your passion, you will be successful, because you will be really driven to do it. And Mr. Rajgiri is another classic example. He took the entrance exam to go to medical school, and for good reason, he didn't make it. I think good for you. And his real passion was marine biology, and that is what he did, and did really terrific community work in the area of marine biology, where farmers were trying to grow shrimp and fish, and the farms would catch infections and they would die and they would lose money. So they set up an entire laboratory and a support system in the state of Andhra Pradesh to help these farmers in their farming activities. And he has also sat on the state board that helped the government to solve some of the problems that they had. And then one of the other guests who couldn't come, Mr. Lingareddy, he went on to be a very successful officer in the government, but his passion has always been food, cooking. And the best food that I have had in my life was in his house. And even to this day, he knows the best restaurants everywhere. And if you just go with him, you don't have to think about anything. He will order the right food and he will get all the right stuff that you need to eat. So much so that him and his family developed this chain of restaurants called Kritunga that you may have heard of, and there are about 60 branches across the country, and they recently opened a branch in Chicago as well. So, important thing is it's good for you to know your passion, but in our society, to a certain extent, parents and families tell us, I think you should be a doctor, or I think you should be an engineer, or I think you should take the IAS exam, or I think you should be this. But if music is your interest, or art is your interest, I think that is something that you need to follow. And for my own personal thing, I don't believe I ever wanted to be a doctor. My parents just pushed me into it and I did get into it. My real interest was business. That's what I always wanted to do. And because I could not do business, my next interest was to be a history or an English professor in a university. But I ended up becoming a doctor, and then subsequently I migrated to the States and I became a cancer specialist. And then I joined this university that you see here called Augusta University, and they had an opening as the head of the department, which is what I did. So I eventually ended up being a professor. I mean, I wanted to be a history or an English literature professor, but I ended up being a professor of medicine. So the department was also growing, and we had to hire multiple doctors and staff to run it as a business. So I had the privilege and the opportunity to take that on and run the business as well. So in the end, everything worked out. I became a professor and I actually run a huge business for the Cancer Center currently. And in terms of the guiding principles that I had, there are two things that I want to emphasize on. The first thing is when you are trying to do something and it doesn't work. So it's very important in medicine, and this is something that I have used as we were trying to improve the treatments in cancer care. You try to do something and it does not work, but that is what people say. We have been doing it like this, but the question you have to ask yourself, we have been doing it like this, it is not working, and why are we still doing the same thing? So that is where you really have to critically think. And if it is not working, doing the same thing over and over again doesn't make sense. So you have to come up with a new concept, and you have to have the courage, and you have to have the courage to take the risk to do it. So that is one of the things that I have used. If something is not working, I would think through it and tell myself this is not working. And then you need to come up with a newer way to do it in order to improve it. And the second thing which we do in medicine all the time is you have done something, it did not work, the patient has gotten worse, or worse still, the patient has died. So there is something that you have done that did not work and was actually the wrong thing. And I have critically looked at that, and what I always tell myself is, don't make the same mistake twice. You've already done it before, it didn't work, and so you have to come up with something different the next time, and that is how we have improved on the treatments. There is a disease that I have treated for about 15 or 20 years, and we have done research on this, and it has made a difference that people all over the world are using the results that we have developed, and it has been a very satisfying thing both for me and for my group as well. So those are the two things that I would like to tell you, but if you all have any questions, I would love to answer them. I think it would give me more pleasure answering your questions than lecturing to you. So if any of you want to ask me anything on cancer care or what we do, I'd be delighted to answer.
Very good afternoon, sir. So as a teacher, I lost my dad due to cancer, and I want to know, how we can prevent this from occurring and know it, because I got to know at the third stage that he had cancer. He was a chain smoker. So, do you believe that our food habits have a lot to do with whether having or not having this disease? And what vegetables, fruits one needs to take in order to prevent this disease from happening? Because whether we like it or not, India hasn't had such major discoveries or experiments have been done, but we haven't been able to cure cancer totally from people. If they are diagnosed at a second or third stage, I'm not very sure we have enough hospitals or nursing homes who have managed to deal with. So is it a problem with the doctors, or there are other problems as well why we have not been able to cure this disease?
Actually, that's a very good question, and thank you for asking. So, unfortunately, most of the cancers are diagnosed at a very advanced stage, simply because the body has a tremendous capability to control any of the symptoms that this disease might be causing. So sadly, most of the patients are diagnosed at an advanced stage. So there are two parts to your question. Can you do something to prevent it or to catch it early? The preventive part, I think smoking was probably the biggest culprit, and it's probably one of the commonest causes that causes cancer, lung being one. But smoking is also associated with other cancers like bladder cancer, I'm trying to think, pancreas cancer. So there are other cancers. So from a preventive point of view, that is one area that people need to focus. And countries have done exceedingly well in cutting down smoking. For instance, if you look at the United States, maybe after the Second World War, like 1950 to 1960, about 50 to 60% of patients used to smoke. They have had tremendous public education programs to decrease it, and I'm sure that has happened in India as well. And the smoking percentage now in most of the states is in the teens. It's somewhere in the 16 to 17%, so that has improved. As far as diagnosing it early, obviously this takes resources, and how it would apply to India, I'm not really sure. But what we now do is, if there is anybody who has smoked for more than 30 years, we give them an X-ray of the lung once a year. And by doing that, you will be able to catch it early and you'll be able to cure it. Now we do those kind of testing for other things as well. Like women, for instance, after they turn 50, they have X-rays of their breast, which is called mammograms. That certainly decreases the risk of cancer. And also among women who have cancer in the female organs, screening them with things like pap smears, etc., which we do routinely, that decreases the risk of cancer. So there are a lot of things that are taking place currently to screen patients for cancer, so you can catch them at an early stage and fix it.
So can you just elaborate on the fruits and vegetables and what will be the diet for a common man who doesn't have any idea to go on in life?
Right. I think, sadly, as much as I would want to put it this way, obesity is a risk factor for cancers as well. For instance, breast cancer is more common among women who are obese. So you're right. A balanced diet and eating food which is healthy also goes a long way, not in just decreasing cancer risk among the population, but also decreasing the risk of heart disease and diabetes as well. So all those things are important from a preventive point of view.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. So, it's a question about your friendship with Mr. Respected Krishna, sir. Can I ask? So, do you really think you will still be the same if you haven't met him?
Yes, I do get it. So, has he made an impact on my life? Is what you're asking me, or how has he influenced my life? Is that?
Yes.
Is that okay? Well, let me see. Definitely, I think we were very good friends for a long time. Not only that, actually, he is one of the most intelligent and people-loving person that I have known. I think he watches people and he watches their behavior and he tries to surmise what they're thinking, and which is what he told me once when people are walking in. I just watch them to see what they're thinking, and then he makes up his mind about what is going on. So that is one thing that I have learned from him. The second thing is he has always had a tremendous sense of humor. He's a very funny person if you get to really know him. That has helped me a lot. Also, deep down, he's an artist. He used to write poetry when he was younger. I'm not sure if he's still doing it. And at heart, he is an artist, and I think that is something that I have learned to appreciate. And we have been supportive of each other in our friendship. If something was wrong with me, he would help me. And when his health failed, I came all the way from the States immediately to see him. So we have been with each other and we've been trying to take care of each other. So the short answer to your question is yes. Friends always make an impact on you in some form or the other.
Thank you, sir.
So how to know a person has a cancer, suspect a cancer in a person without testing in hospital?
So your question is, how do you diagnose them with cancer? Without testing them, how can you diagnose cancer? Unfortunately, to prove cancer, well, when they develop cancer, they are going to have symptoms. You can consider. They are going to have symptoms. Like, people will not go to a doctor unless something is wrong with them. So most cancer patients will have some kind of a problem. For instance, they might feel weak, they might feel tired, they might have pain somewhere. So there is something that happens that takes them to the doctor. But cancer is not a simple thing. You have to be 100% sure that the person has cancer, because the treatments are not simple. And you have to do some kind of testing to prove it. So the general things that we do to prove that is, let's say you suspect that someone might have blood cancer, then you have to take the blood, you have to test it. You should be able to find the cancer cells in the blood in order to give them treatment. So the answer to your question is, patients will always have some kind of symptoms that would take them to a doctor. And you have to do the appropriate testing to confirm the diagnosis. But you have to be 100% sure that you make the diagnosis correct before you do anything.
Why do we call cancer cells as oncocytes?
Oncocells? Okay, so I guess that's another name for cancer. I guess it's a more scientific name for cancer. I don't know I should know this. I don't know what the origin of onco is, but it's probably another language. I guess The regular name for cancer is cancer. Oncology is a more scientific name. For instance, you could call me a cancer specialist, or you could also call me an oncologist. So why are cancer cells called oncocells? It's just a different name for the cancer cells. It's probably Latin.
I'm asking about the origin of the words.
Oh, the origin of oncology. Onco? Anybody know? I should know this. It's probably a different language. It must be Latin. It must be from Latin, because most of these words have originated from the Latin language. So, but I will Google this after this conference to be sure.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, actually, being a doctor, when you are trying to discover a new medicine and you experiment that new medicine over a few persons and that goes worse and it leads to the death of a person, would you like to stop that invention discovery, or would you continue that diagnosis over other people?
So that's exactly the kind of work that I do. So that's a very good question. Now, you just don't arbitrarily take some medication and give it to a patient. You have to have scientific basis before you do that, consider. So first, how we do this is, let's say you find a new drug and you want to try it in some kind of a cancer. So the question from there, you have cancer cells that are grown in a test tube or in a petri dish. There are cell lines that are available, and you have to test them in those cell lines. And let's say the drug is working in those cell lines. So you have to have a very, very strong basis to believe that this drug is going to work. Once that happens in the test tube or in the petri dish, then the next thing you do is you take those drugs and you have to use them in animals. So the usual animal models that we use are either mice or rabbits or guinea pigs. You have to do that, and once you show that it's working in those animals with cancers, it's very, very regulated. The government will audit you. They have to look at all the results before you give them to a human being. And then after you tested it in animals and it shows that it's working, then you try it in human beings. And what you do is you have to try it at the lowest dose possible. And then you have to try it in 3 patients to make sure that all 3 patients are doing well without any side effects. After that, let's say it's working in 3 patients, then you take to the next 3 and to the next 3, and you slowly increase the dose. And at each stage, you have to look and see what kind of side effects it is causing. And where I work in the American government, you have to report it to the government every step. And at any point, it shows that the drugs are causing side effects that are unacceptable to the patients, the government will stop it. And as an investigator, ethically you owe it to the patient to stop it yourself. So it goes both ways. Both the scientists who are trying them, as well as the government actually regulates all this stuff. So there are very good control measures to do that. So if they're causing side effects and they're causing death of the patient, you have to stop it immediately.
Good afternoon, sir. You have been working for so many years now, sir. Have you ever felt depressed when you are working? If you have, how did you overcome it?
Very, very good question. So this is the kind of stuff that you see every day in your working environment. You know, I personally don't find it depressing. People always ask me, isn't it depressing for you to see these patients go through this, and some of them may not survive and some of them do. Now, even in my 35 years of doing this, the treatments of cancers have evolved tremendously. One of the diseases that I treat, about 98% of patients are cured, they're cured. You wouldn't even know that they ever had this problem before. The second thing is I treat this other type of blood cancer, and if you had asked me 30 years ago, how long, if a patient asked me how long do I have to live, I'd say a year to 2 years. Now those patients are living for 10 to 15 years. So the fact that we are able to do well for some of these patients wants you to go to work every day. So there is some amount of enthusiasm to see that. Not only that, now if they are diagnosed with a very advanced form of cancer, like one of the young gentlemen there was asking, patients do know that they're not doing well and that they might die on account of that. But taking them through the journey from the time they are diagnosed to the time they die, being nice to them, being kind to them, talking to their families, answering those questions, trying to keep them as comfortable as possible, trying to decrease the pain. Actually taking them to the journey is actually gives you the most amount of satisfaction. In fact, like a lot of my patients send me Christmas cards, greeting cards during some festivals. I get more cards from families of patients who died than from families of patients who are alive. So it is a very, very rewarding thing to take care of these patients during the last days of their lives, if you can take care of them kindly. So my answer to you is, it is not depressing at all. I find it very rewarding, and in fact I find it very, very challenging to find more and more new treatments for these patients. I'm not sure for how much longer I'm going to be doing, but as long as I'm going to do this, I enjoy it every day.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Namrata of 10th grade, and I want to know about what are the symptoms of cancer and how a common people can know that he is suffering from cancer.
So there are so many different kinds of cancers, hundreds of different things. You can have them in your brain, you can have them in your throat, you can have them in your lung, you can have them in your stomach, you can have them in your joints, you can have them in your muscles, you can have them in your blood. So the symptoms that they cause are totally different, one from the other. One of the commonest causes is fatigue. They're very tired, they lose weight, they don't have an appetite, they might have pain. Those are the usual symptoms that people have. But unfortunately, if somebody comes and tells you I'm tired or I have pain, you're not going to immediately suspect cancer in that patient, because you could be tired because you have an infection or you're just not feeling well that day. But for the most part, those are the common symptoms. Most patients with cancer go for months before they're diagnosed because people don't really think about it. But those are the usual symptoms that people would have.
Any questions from boys? 3, 4. Come on, girls. 1. We have questions here. Sir. Okay, yeah. I have only one mic. Oh, Akshay.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, before you told that there are hundreds of types of cancer, sir. On which type cancer you are working, sir?
On which type? I work mostly on blood cancers. That's what I do.
Why, sir? Why only that cancer? You can work on other cancer.
So the way that works is, there are two types of cancer specialists. Cancer specialists that work in the community where they practice cancer care, and those are specialists who take care of every type of cancer. So these are oncologists or cancer specialists who are in the community. I actually work in a university. We have right now about 60 doctors who practice cancer care, and each of us is specialized in a certain type. That means if you're doing throat cancer, blood cancer, breast cancer, muscle cancer, etc. You cannot become specialized. What we do is we specialize in one. We try to figure out where are things with this. Are we doing well? If not, how can we do better? Unless you are very, very focused, you won't be able to develop that type of specialty. And unless you have that level of specialty, you won't be able to improve things. So, in a university, people are very, very specialized in what they do. So, out of the 60 something doctors that we have who do this, everyone is, in fact, I don't even specialize in all the blood cancers. I only and there are at least 20 to 30 different ones. I only specialize in 2 or 3 of those. So the answer to your question is, unless you're very, very focused in what you're doing, you won't be able to become an expert at it and develop new treatments.
Sir, did you find any vaccines to that?
I'm sorry.
Any medicine for it? Did you find any medicine for it?
I specifically did not, but there are others that have done this, and I think they said that in the introduction about this leukemia that I treat. It's called acute promyelocytic leukemia. You can look it up on Google. It's called APL. You just say APL leukemia. We actually found a way to improve the cure rate of that disease from 60% to 98%. So there is something that we did in treating that disease that has improved the cure rate from about 60% to 90%. I did not specifically invent any medications, I have not.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Devesh. So my question for you is that once you get cancer, your immune system gets totally damaged, and when you go through chemo, your immune system gets more damaged. So what if the
Waiting for your immune system to weaken, we're actually strengthening the body's own immune system with the treatments that we have so they can attack the cancers more effectively.
Good afternoon, sir. Who gets more affected by the cancer, either males or females?
Men more often. Men are more likely to get it than women.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. What reason for hair loss during cancer?
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Reason for hair loss.
Okay. So most of the hair loss is actually from the treatments that we give them. Chemotherapy. So what I was trying to tell you is chemotherapy is not very smart. Chemotherapy attacks anything which is growing fast. The cancer cells grow very fast, so it actually destroys the cancer cells. The other things that grow very fast in the body is the hair. That's why chemotherapy attacks the hair as well. So it's not the cancer that destroys the hair, it's actually the chemotherapy that you give that destroys the hair.
First of all, good afternoon, sir, and a warm welcome to you. And I have a question. Since like my childhood, I heard that cancer is a royal disease, but it is common to everyone now. So what has filled that gap?
I'm sorry, it used to be, I missed it.
Sir, earlier that it was called as a royal disease. Cancer was called as a royal disease, right, sir? But now it is common to all. So what has filled that gap? No doubt that pollution and adulteration of food has caused it, but along with that, only diet is like one which we have to focus on, or it is also stress and thoughts what we come to us.
I'm not sure about stress causing cancer, but so it's increasing because it's a disease of aging. So cancer is something that you see in older people. So if you think the life expectancy 50 years ago was 20 years less, people are living longer now. So the older patients are more likely to get it. Now, why is it affecting everybody? I'm not sure if there are changes in lifestyle that are contributing to it. I'm not aware of stress actually being a contribution to cancer, that I'm not aware of.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon to Dr. Krishna Mohan, Dr. Kalyani, Mrs. Samika ma'am, and the teaching and the non-teaching, and my dear students. All you Montessorians, you look so energetic, you look so happy, and I guess this happiness and this energy comes from this campus that you have been studying in. This is really a very congenial place for you to read, for you to educate yourself, and most importantly, you should mix your education with extracurricular activities even. You should resort to playing games. Your management has acquired more land behind your school premises to form a good playground for you all, and I suggest every one of you take part in games, one or the other, and necessarily it should be outdoor games, and refrain from looking into your mobile phones or thinking of movies and things like that. I suggest you go out in the sun, play games, whatever it is, whether it is physical and mental games. You resort to play carrom board, chess, or cricket and football, volleyball, basketball, and keep yourself alive and keep yourself energetic, and eat well, sleep well, and most importantly, study well. And please listen to your parents, because ultimately they are the ones who care for you the most. And one thing that is said is, like, you have to respect in this order. It is like Mata, Pita, Guru, Devam. It is mother, father, and then comes the teacher, and then ultimately it is the faith that you rest in your God. So listen to your parents. You have a lovely campus here where you can educate yourself very well, become proud citizens, make your parents proud, make your school proud, and everything will be all right for you. You study and read and learn with dedication. Let it not be just to gain marks, but you understand what you are reading. It's not just that you mug up and go and spit it out in the exam. No, don't do that. Learn. If you have some doubts, ask your teachers. They are very eminent. They are very dedicated to answer your questions, to resolve all the doubts that you have in your minds. And very importantly, respect them. Respect. If you respect them, they will be willing to impart all the knowledge that they have. And the most and very, very important thing that I like to share with you is the care for the environment. Environment is what you all need to really care for. Mother Nature is for us to live. And only if you take care of Mother Nature, nature will also care for you. It's important that you don't litter the campus, you take care not to use single-use plastics to an extent more than necessary. And if you find any single-use plastics, please place them in dustbins that have been earmarked for that, and don't throw plastic waste or anything that is hazardous to the nature, and in turn it will be hazardous to ourselves. So take care not to use one single-use plastics, and even if you do, send it to the right place for recycling. So with this, I don't want to test your hunger anymore. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Thank you.
Sir, I think we have 2 minutes, a small game. So I think you may have seen some of the TVs. So we'll be asking questions. So we have 3 different placards here. I, him. So can you just hold it for a while, sir? Please. Sir, can you? Yes. We'll be asking questions to you, sir, and you have to show the answers to them. For example, who is the naughtiest one among 3? Who is the naughtiest one? Yes. Sir, the naughtiest one. The naughtiest one. The naughtiest one. Yeah. So we have to show the back of the audience. Sir, but we have to show it, sir. You have to show it, I guess. Yeah.
Yes.
Sir, yeah. Can you just show it to the audience again? The naughtiest is. Sir, actually, yeah. Okay. Second question. Who is foodie? Foodie. Who likes to eat food? Oh, you are, sir. You don't. Oh, who will be, sir? Yeah. Him. Okay, here. Who is athlete here? Athlete, sports person. I am. Yes. Sir, come on, sir. Sir.
The thing about his sportsmanship is, at the age of 60, he climbed Himalayas, he can take nothing.
Yes. Sir, you want to see, now one more thing. Can you climb the Kutimovin? Can you? Can you? Yes. Without footwear? Yes. Can you? Okay. Do you believe that sir climbed Himalaya? Do you know it? Mount Everest. Sir, I think you want to have a bit about it. Can you just share a moment about it? What was the experience about it?
Very exciting. One of the most exciting things I did in my life was how so breathtakingly beautiful.
Thank you so much, sir. Okay, the next one. Who is party lover? Party lover. Sir, your placard, please. Yes. Party lover. Who loves to party? Sir, placard. Sir. Is it that? Sir. Okay, him. Okay, great. Party lover. Okay. Who loves to irritate others?
Irritation.
Yes. Love to irritate. So obviously answer is him. Okay, great. Okay, who loves to? Who is the best secret keeper? Secret keeper. Who is the best? The secret keeper.
Secret keeper.
Yes, sir.
And the worst keeper.
So obviously among them, who is that, sir?
He is the best.
Secret keeper, but he is not accepting that.
No, he is.
Okay. Okay, sir. Particular question. Who is a troublemaker?
He is.
Everything. Troublemaker, sir. Always a troublemaker. Troublemaker. Definitely, sir. Anand, sir. Anand, sir. You're the one. Okay. I don't know. We made question the exact everything for you. Okay. Next question, sir. Who is skateboard? Skateboard.
Yeah. Because I'm a troublemaker, I was awarded the best outstanding student of the class for 5 years. Thank you. Not because I'm outstanding, I always stand outside the class.
Thank you, sir. So next question. Okay. Next question, like who is always giving others? Like things others. You kind of a person who is giving others. What are they have?
Who is more giving?
All of us? Oh great, that's good. Okay, sir. So like, we want to have share a funny incident that you had with your friendship actually. The best friendship ever, like, was in 5 minutes.
So
The
many.
best moment that you want to share with us.
So many I cannot remember what.
Okay, the top one, the priority one, which is remembering right now.
We went to
Sir.
Delhi for Asian Games.
Asian Games.
Yeah. That was the best. We had a lovely time there. And for the first time we started drinking. And we started tubing also.
Okay, the next question. Who is dating friend? Floating friend. Floating friend. Floating friend. Yes, joking. Who loves to take joke. So that always. Sir, according to you, who is that who always makes jokes? So always makes a joke. Like who is the top most actually? Sir, bracket is important because everyone should know it. Okay. So we will ask you some questions among them. Okay. So according to your answer, what do you value most in friendship? So what do you do that? So what's up that?
I think the thing about friendship is to enjoy the other friend's success. More importantly than that is to most important thing is to be there when they need. I think that's probably a true test of friendship.
Sir.
And one more thing is sharing good times as well as bad ones. The need to be with a friend during the bad times is primordial in my expression.
Yes, sir.
But when we are talking about friendship, yes, we are all friends. But somehow, the batch we joined in 1978 medical school, the entire batch is like us. At the drop of the hat we meet. Even today he is coming, he came to Katman. Around 25 people are coming to see my batch.
Okay.
And after we left medical school, we must have met 10 times our degree. We went to different places. And needless to say, all of them I have missed. But I want you to develop that kind of a rapport among your batch. Wherever you are, in what position you are, maintain the contacts, be in touch with everybody. That's the spice of life. That's the success of life.
Thank you so much. Sir, one more question for you. So, who is the first person you would call them? If you get a bad news or good news, who would like to call them? Like,
Ask all three of them.
yes, sir.
Because I'll call my wife.
Okay, that's okay. Like, do you prefer wife or friends? Which one? Because
Wife.
Wife. You have to go back. Okay. So, like, I asked, who do you prefer?
I'm sure.
Wife or friend? Yeah.
It's getting deep. If my wife finds out it's not her, you can imagine the kind of trouble I am.
Sir, you have a troublemaker. You would solve the problem.
Exactly. I would get my wife's permission to tell my friend.
Okay. I want to get some question, sir. Who do you prefer? Friend or wife?
When I went to his place in US, he kept me in a house. The name of the house is called Mother-in-law's Inn.
Okay. So next question. So last two questions. Sir, it's very close to you. If you could do one thing before together before we all die, what would you do? All three of you. Sir.
I would like a trip with all my friends together, maybe for the next Asian Games, along with Dr. Krishmon, Dr. Anand and the rest of the clan. And I would like to do all the mischief that we did 40 years ago.
So you wanted to regain the back?
Yeah,
okay.
Jump into the pool.
Yes.
Fully dressed.
Yes. Yes, sir. Sir. So, like, if you could do one thing together before we leave the earth, so one thing we could do before we leave the world, what would you do?
One last thing you
One
would
last
like
thing.
with your friends.
I'm the best person to answer.
Yes.
He almost left.
No, like, what do you want to do
He
before?
almost went there and came back. Mr. Yamadagama said, no, I can sit here. I came back here.
Okay.
What I did,
Yeah, like, what do you want to do?
everybody thought that I'm going to die within 2 days. No, so I invited all my friends for my birthday party.
Okay.
Everybody came. We had a lot of time.
Okay.
I said goodbye to everybody.
Okay.
Luckily I saw you.
Sir,
The thing is, I came to for his 60th birthday and he did not know if I actually showed up. It was a secret. So I just showed up and he saw me for the first time.
wasn't it, sir? Wasn't it that? No, was that actually? So, like that. Yes, sir. So one last question. So according to you, if you you want to give one piece of advice to all students or teachers or even me also about friendship that you want to keep in our life, what would be that? So all would be. So like one piece of advice to all the students who are being here about friendship, because having a person for long years, like more than 50 years, it's impossible to have one good friend. One piece of advice for them.
Maintaining the friendship is not free. It takes work. So you need to put the effort into maintaining your friendship.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Be truthful to your friend. Don't fake friendship just for the sake of friendship. Be very honest to them. Be loving. Be caring to them. And that's it. You will have friends for life.
Sir, I think one question about one piece of advice about friendship to all of you.
Be friends for life. Friend is the only person who can really be confidential. You can talk anything to him. You can do anything. Lot of things deserves. You may not tell your mother, parents, brothers. But with friend, you can have an open talk, man and talk. You can tell everything. But that friend should not, they should not back down. Maintain that kind of friends.
Okay, so listen. As we have asked so much of questions about friendship also. So what is friendship to you? One word, sir. One last question. One word you have to describe about friendship. One word. About friendship. Sir. Sir, hi. Sir, you should describe your friendship about in one word.
One word.
Yes, sir.
Caring.
Caring. Yes, sir.
Honesty.
Honesty. Sir. Shimon, sir. One word about friendship.
Together.
Together. So can you all say that? Our chief guest, Anand sir, Krishaman sir, thank you so much for having here on the stage, and we feel that we being here from cancer, stress, and your presence makes us so happy all. So thank you so much. We feel so honored of that.
Anand, Raj, thank you so much. It's a pleasure having you here. Every time you come back, it's more overwhelming, and it's kind of like appreciating us for what we do and encouraging us to do even more. And to you kids, see, today you've learned that whatever you dream, when you pursue with a passion, you will be able to achieve it. Yes? You will be making friendships in school that will last for life. Yes? So it will be my honor to host you 10 years down the lane with your friends in the same munch, answering to your sub-juniors. Are you all looking forward to it? Yes?